Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew Shellman. As you all may know, I am the Operating Executive Secretary of the 7th House of the United Nations Climate Change Division. I would like to start out by welcoming everyone to this historic conference, the COP27. This is the first ever virtual COP conference we've had. So, we're still getting the gears turning a little bit. This is a little new for us. But given that 1/10 of the population was wiped out by the Omega variant, you can understand why, silly as they might be, we have to take these precautions. So we all know why we're gathered here today. The global climate crisis has had devastating effects on communities everywhere. Over 6 million deaths have been linked to climate change last year, and many more millions have had to relocate or completely start over with their life. And then this year especially, it's becoming more evident that if we don't do something to stop this, we are going to lose a lot of money. But before we get into how we're going to intend to fix this, I always find it helpful to review how we got here and what we could have done to prevent this sooner. I have also provided some visual aids to help explain things as we go through this little journey. Hold on. So I think we can all agree that this kind of kicked off with the advent of globalization. Modern day economic globalization, industrialization started, and it allowed for cheap production of commodities, while rapid population growth created a sustained demand for these items. It also allowed for more efficient forms of transportation, which would then carry these commodities into this new globalized economy. Soon enough, as these things developed further over the years and emissions continued to increase, the environmental concern grew among scientists, and it wasn't until about the mid to late 20th century that they started to warn us about global warming. Now people start to take to the streets with green activism, protesting to save the earth from climate disaster. And while some strides have been made in that department, recycling, elimination of aerosol, and people trying to reduce their carbon footprint, not much changed as a result. We're still in this same little situation we got. It was becoming more clear to the population that big oil corporations, logging companies, etc., they care much more about money than the planet. So at this point, we're kind of saying, money is a major issue, or MIAMI for short. The issue lies in things like, lobbying or stock trading within governments. For some countries, fossil fuel exports contribute to a large portion of their GDP, and they want to keep that cash flow, that cash moving. Fast forward a bit, and now there's been many attempts to limit the power that these destructive corporations have on governments. But because of how much monetary influence that are allowed in these states, money is still a major issue. At this point, there's not so much worry about global warming as much as we are directly seeing the effects of it. We are no longer dealing with a far off, distant reality. Now we have to accept that the crisis is now, and climate change is happening before our eyes. Now that we've looked into the past and the present state of the matter, we should now look into the future for answers. If we keep going along with business as usual, we're going to see much more than a climate catastrophe. We are going to see the breakdown of social order. We need to restore humanity's faith in our leadership because they are realizing that nobody is coming to save them. It falls upon us as leaders to make sure that they are sedated for as long as possible, or we risk having a revolution on our hands, or as Pitbull likes to call it, a revolution. President Biden, hey, wakey, come on. Can we get somebody to wake him up? Anyways, while we in the United Nations encourage protest and action for human rights and preventing climate change, we also need to make sure we have our own needs met. And our needs depend on the stability of social order and power structures in place that give us our agency. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. What really matters is that we are all here for a common goal: to support humanity through this crisis and to prevent the meltdown of this earth. Thank you all. Now, I'm going to hand off the mic to my associate, Rodney Klipman, who is Supervising Director of Finance in the UN Human Rights Division.
Thank you, Andrew. As you mentioned, we are here for one common purpose, and that's to prevent this meltdown of the earth and society as we know it. We are currently